Welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Nickie Robs, a local real estate agent serving Puyallup, Tacoma, and beyond. And today, my special guest is Mike. And oh my gosh,
Steve, you said Mike the
yes,
other day too.
let's start over.
Yeah, start
Got
over.
Mike on the brain.
Welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Nickie Robs, your local real estate agent serving Tacoma and Puyallup. And today, my special guests are Michelle and Steve Shaw, and they have a great tool to share with you today. And I really think this helps not only home buyers, but also home sellers and homeowners, and really anyone over the age of 12 who has to deal with money. I mean, as wide an audience as that can possibly be, but if you find yourself wondering how to get ahead, I can't wait for them to share with you this awesome tool that they have used on countless clients, at business owners, and just regular people in any walk of life that can really benefit from this. So welcome, Mike, Michelle, and Steve.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
it's great to be here.
thanks, Nickie. We're really excited to be here and share, what it is that we do and how we help families.
Yeah.
You said it before, like anyone over 12 needs to know, because by the time you're 12, you're hit with all your parents' views on money and you grow up with it. And I am a product of my father's upbringing, without going into a long story, but he was a child of the Depression, and so money was scarce. And so that's people come into money and they have these notions that they've had for a long time. But what we do, and we have these tools that help people really, assist them, and provide them a path from where they're thinking about money to where that they can go to create a new relationship with money.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're really, and you talked about it, it's a way to get control of your debt. But before we get into that, I'd kind of like to share with you, before going in that long-winded,
Wait, who's doing the interview here?
of how we got into business.
Yeah.
So I knew that was something that you wanted us to share. So Michelle, go.
Yeah. So as Steve said, a lot of people don't have a great mindset about money. But when I started in our business, why I started was I worked in corporate America. I worked for the city of Seattle, and I live in Paulsbo. So people who don't know where that is, you got to take a bus, train, airplane, ferry, all the way to get to the other side, right?
Yeah.
So I was spending most of my day commuting, right? And then I would do a 9.5 hour day, and then bam, I'd come back, right? And I came back just in time to say goodnight to the kids and how was school today? And they're like, oh, good, mom, tired, gotta go to bed. And I'm like, I'm exhausted, I gotta go too. Thank God I married Steve, who is an awesome chef. So I always had great meals. Yeah. But I wanted something more. I wanted something that I could like hang out at the house more and be in the same county as my kids. I don't know, catch a basketball game every once in a while, or a track meet. And so a friend of mine introduced us to our company that we currently are working for now in Primerica Financial Services. And I jumped. I always loved financial services. I always wanted to be an financial advisor. I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do. I just thought, well, okay, a ton of schooling was probably what I was supposed to have to do. And I wasn't all about that.
Right. It's like, well, I don't really want to go get a college degree, and I'm not sure that will equip me.
Exactly. So, I bounced. I started probably about 6 years ago for Primerica Financial. I did have to go, not back to school, but I did have to take some tests,
Yeah.
which the company provided us. And bam, there I am. I'm a stay-at-home. My kids are now grown,
Yeah.
but I got the last part of their years and most of their college years. I got to go wherever they were, and I'm almost thinking about flying into St. Louis. That's where my daughter is right now,
Wow.
finishing up her pilot school.
Mm-hmm.
So as a pilot, but it allows us a lot of freedom for
And-
sure.
And there was also why we got into the business is on top of that. And currently, while Michelle was being introduced to Primerica, we had an unfortunate incident. My sister was killed in a traffic accident,
Mm.
and fortunately for her, she left a son. His father had passed earlier too, so he had no parents. So he became part of our family. But the thing was, my sister had life insurance
Mm.
protection in the event of something like that happening, and it was like God calling us at that moment, like, wow, this is the right where to go to help people, because the idea that you can, I saw my sister the day before she passed, real casual, like she made pork chops, and then the next day, boom, it was a traffic accident, and
Wow.
that was powerful. And we realized what we do really makes a difference. The idea that my nephew was able to finish college, and now he's a pilot in the Navy. He's an aviator, so he's living a great life, and that's all because my sister had the foresight to have life insurance and have her stuff protected. And then we realized, wow, that's not all families were so fortunate. And so that's what
Well, we weren't fortunate. We didn't have any of that stuff. She had investments, she had
Mm.
houses, and it's like she kind of was like, hey, I can't help other people, but I'll help you guys and our family. And
Wow.
why don't we help others?
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow. And that's a really moving story too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what keeps us in this business, the idea that we can really serve people and get them where they feel like, wow, I've got control of my financial situation, because sometimes it is a matter of life and death, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
there's so many things in our finances we can't control. I can't control the price of gas or the changes in the housing market or the price of food, or there's so many things that have changed over the last 4 years, and you don't know which thing is going to happen next, right? I don't know if there's going to be scarcity of peanut butter, or is it going to be something else that I need?
Toilet paper, who knows?
It could be anything. Anything. It could be out of control and really, really affect my day, my family, my week, my finances. And you offer people a sense of, I know how my money is working for me.
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
a lot of people work hard for their money. You work hard, you're out there, and then, we're in our networking group with all these business owners, and they're working hard for their money.
Yeah.
So we help people get where their money is working just as hard for them.
Yeah.
And that's where, we love about doing this, the idea that have people have money working hard as opposed to just sitting there. So anyway, but we will go on a quick, you said, and you made an allusion to a tool that we have.
Yeah.
And a tool that we help, it's called debt stacking. And it's a way for people who really, get stuck in the day-to-day grind and just feel like just making enough to pay the bills and that, and they don't really see anything possibility of for themselves, of like, well, how can I get something better? Well, we're able to take wherever they are right now and put it on a paper of how a plan to get them. And that's what debt stacking is. People don't realize you can just get rid of debt easy as long as there's a path.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Yeah. So I know debt stacking, you're like, what does that even mean? Right.
Yeah.
So a couple things why I like this, because one, you can start taking control back with your money. Right. So that's the one thing that you just said, like, hey, I don't have any control of what goes right. Well, this you can take control of. And so it's just a small first step for people who are out there who are like, man, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna do a little demo here if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. And so I'm gonna put full screen. So this is one of our clients. And so this is her debt. And she has like lots of stuff. Like obviously she loves Kohl's.
Yeah.
They own a tractor. They have a
Mhm.
farm. But what I wanted to pair out is current interest rates, right? They take the
Oh,
average,
yeah.
right? Minimum payments is 2,700 going out the door.
Mhm.
And they are paying a little bit more on some of their stuff, right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So current balance, 240,000, right? Right
Yeah.
now, the average American debt, I don't know if you know this, but the average American debt right now is $104,000,
Wow.
Some of
right?
that is not with just not having a house. This person at least has a mortgage on part of that. So it's
Yeah.
not.
But a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So here's what we're thinking, right? We're thinking, whoa, her debt to income ratio, that's a really big thing for people, right? I
Yes.
got more debt than money, right? And
Yes.
so we're always paying Peter to pay Paul, right? So this takes into account, hey, look, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know at the end of the month,
Mhm.
right? So her debt to income is pretty high. Um, but this is what our tool is supposed to do. So they take, hey, this is how we're currently paying off your debt. This is how you told me. And you know what? You're going to be age 61 by the time you're out of debt.
Mm.
That's in 19 years. So if you back up 19 years, she's in her what, 40s? Early 40s, right? She's not going to be 60 by the time she gets out of debt. And we just showed her how to do it at age 50. 8 years, totally out of debt,
Wow.
11 years sooner.
Yeah.
And we just saved her $39,000 in interest.
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty amazing tool.
Okay, so the best tool, and this is what Steve likes to point out, is okay, so that she's paying $2,800 a month,
Mhm.
and she is still paying $2,800 a month.
Yeah.
The amount of money.
Same amount of money. And this is what I like the best. Hey, at age 50, you're already used to paying that $2,800.
Yeah.
How would you like to, at retirement, have $1 million saved if you continue?
Yeah. That makes a huge difference for a lot of people.
So this is one of many of our clients that
So
do this.
this woman isn't a 25-year-old. This is a woman who's 40, who's going on middle age, and so who's in debt. So it doesn't matter where you are. There are tools, and I do like to say that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the next best time is today.
I
So
say the same thing about houses, right? If
yeah.
you could have bought a
Oh,
house 6 years ago, that was a great time. The
mhm,
next best time is right now because we don't know what the next 6 years has.
correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
And I'm sure you're getting a lot of people like, oh man, but the interest rates, right? Well, I mean, just think about you. Did you see some of the interest rates that she was paying?
Yeah.
29,
Wow.
15, and we're all crying about 7,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, grow up I'm a child of the 80s. We had double-digit interest rates for houses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know.
You never know. Yeah.
So, but so that's one way. So, right. So as they control their debt, and and Steve and I, we walk right along with them, like, hey, congratulations, you paid off that first debt, and
Yeah.
we kind of like remind people like, why are they doing this, right? Because that was just a short snippet, but they have goals, they have dreams,
Mm.
and they don't have the money for that, right? Or maybe they want to invest, right? They don't have money for that either.
Mhm.
So that's why I really like debt stacking. That's kind of like my jam,
Yeah.
because it affords people to do so much more once they figure out how to get out of it.
I love it. I love it. Who have you seen that's benefited the most? Is there a particular demographic or age range? Um, where have you seen the most extreme changes for people?
Actually, people who are in their 40s,
Mhm. Okay.
who have built up debt over a period of time,
Yeah.
and are stuck on a kind of feel like they're stuck, right? And then that they see, oh wow, if I can like, direct my payments and then be diligent about this, I can change. And so those are the people who really benefit the most.
Mhm.
With young people, we try to get them. We work with people at any stage, Nikki.
Yeah.
And that's what we also talk about, this thing called the rule of 72 and the power of compound interest. But the idea of get people starting saving young, but also people who are in middle age who haven't saved, or even and even older, taking steps now, because even 10 years will make a difference. And what, and we can show you what 10 years can do. And that's what we get passionate about, because there's just so many people who are just stuck, just have a mindset about money. And so what we do is help people create a new mindset. And it's right there in front of them. We've got a plan for them. And,
right. I think the other benefit demographics are single moms, right? Because they really are stretched pretty thin. It's kind of where my heart is. I was a single mom before Steve, and I racked in some debt, right? Because you want to give your kids everything, right? And you're trying to swing everything, and we don't always have the best job for that. So if we show, we show you how to get out of debt and how to manage that, all of a sudden, a whole new world opens up for people.
Yeah, I know it makes a big difference when people can afford better housing, safer housing, and then begin to afford activities for kids. Right. When you don't have to say no all the time, it makes a big difference to your heart, to your mental health, when you can say, I can afford this, the budget has room. It's a great day.
It's a great day. So we do good things.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Gosh, I feel like I've heard one success story. Do you have any more that you want to share?
Do you have one, Steve?
Do we have, I don't have the information pulled up, because we were just doing that
We're
one.
just going to do one, but
maybe without the numbers, maybe just give the story. Yeah,
sure. So this is one. So we had when we finished our debt stacking on one of them, we had a client, their goals and dream was to go to Disneyland with their kids. Right. And I was like, okay, well, let's work backwards, right? So as you work backwards for things, it's like, okay, so Disney World is going to take a lot of money, right? Especially if you want to not say no, right? And so, right. And it was a good time frame. So it was still 2 years out, right? So we still had 2 years, but she had a lot of stuff on her plate, kind of like this past one that we showed. And the most important thing is that we had to show like how to save some money, right? Not only just find it in their budget, but now it's like, hey, I don't want to have to say no now all the time, but if you just rethink about what we do with money, right? Hey, do I really need to go out 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a week for dinner?
Yeah.
Well, I do, but not me. But do we have to? How about if we just saved one of those nights for dinner, which was about $30, and we started just chunking that away, right? And by the time that she was ready to go, not only because they afford not only to just fly, right? Because you had to fly there, can't drive, so you had to fly there. But she also had 3 kids that she was going, right? And so not only did she get to go there, but they actually got to go and do breakfast with the characters, because she had extra money for that. And so, she came back and the kids were elated. They had never gone. They've always wanted to go. And the thing is that she just thanked us, right? She just thanked us because she had money. She actually brought home money as well. So we had saved over the 2 years, and I don't know that it's that much, but over the 2 years, she ended up saving about $8,000, on top of what she had all to pay, right? And that was due to part of her debt stacking. Now we did say, hey, it's going to be a little bit longer to, get your debt, but she didn't have to pay with any credit cards. She
Wow.
paid all in cash. And
Yeah.
she felt so good that she could come back and then resume the rest of her debt. It did put us out, like, I don't think it was like a year and 4 months,
Mhm.
but she has pictures of a lifetime right now.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that must be that's a gold star day, right?
It is,
That's an amazing
and
day.
again, it is the happiest place on earth.
You made it, yeah, she made a dream become reality, right?
Mhm.
She created it. She made something, like instead of, oh, one of these days a wish,
Right.
actually,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. And that's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right? And then she also modeled for her kids what delayed gratification looks like. And saving
Mhm.
$8,000 is not a small deal
It's
because
not.
I can get you into a house for about $10,000 as a first-time home buyer. So
Right.
look, if you have the right tools in place and you've got the right team in place, home buying can be possible. That's
Yep.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of start with, hey, this is day one,
Yeah.
not one day.
Yes. It's so true.
Because I think
Right.
a lot of people, right, Nikki, think that buying a house is out of their reach, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
That's like, oh, well, it's too late for me now, right? And
Yeah.
so,
The sad thing is I'm hearing 20-year-olds talk like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Well,
no,
that's because
hun.
their parents did.
Right.
Right.
But they're looking at what my parents paid for their house 10, 15, 20 years ago. And they're like, it's never going to be like that. I'm like, okay, hold on now. There
Mhm.
is going to come a time because you're at the beginning of your earning potential. If you play your money smart, we can get you into a house as soon as you have, right, X amount for really for closing costs. Let's make
Right.
sure you pay zero for a down payment. And then let's make sure you can actually afford the house and you're not house poor, right? That debt to income ratio is a really, really important number to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I would love it if everyone's debt to income ratio was 30 or less.
I
That would
know,
be
Okay.
right?
Well, hey, let's figure out how we can do that together.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great working partnership.
Right. Like, so many things open up if you can keep the debt to your income just minimal. And one of my kids is amazing at spending, and one kid is amazing at saving. And I'm like, okay, you all need to share tips because the kid who doesn't save needs to save, and the kid who doesn't spend, like, no, it is appropriate to go use money for appropriate things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really fun when your kids start growing up. Like, so when my kids grew up, well, they're still growing up. They're in their
Right, they
20s,
are,
right?
aren't they?
But my son, he got a big boy job now, and he pulls out this green credit card, and I was like, oh, wait, well, what are we doing? And he goes, don't worry, Mom, you've already taught me how to pay this off. Beginning of every month, pay it off. And I said, yep, don't hold a balance, at least not over 30%.
Yeah.
And we had gone through the whole thing, and I wonder how many parents actually sit down with their kids and talk to them about credit, debt,
Yes.
and what is allowable. Even though you can
Yeah.
have $1,000 limit, that doesn't mean you need to have 1,000 on that card, right?
So true.
Because
Yeah.
and I think if more kids had that,
Mhm.
or more parents maybe didn't even know, like, what do you
Right.
mean?
It's hard to pass down what you don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's another that's a whole other can of worms right
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing what we should have known in school, right?
Well,
Always, right.
it's funny what I shared about my father, because as I say, he was born in 36, child of the Depression, and he was a successful businessman. He
Mm.
made decent money, and he was in the corporate life, and then he was also an officer in the Marines. But he always carried with him that, like, money is scarce,
Yeah.
and he's carried that with him, so much so it's been passed on to me.
Yeah.
I grew up with a scarcity mindset about money. The idea
Yeah.
that money is not easy to come by. It's difficult.
Mhm.
And so you hold on to it, right? So, and the idea, get people to know that if you put it out there, put it into the put it out into the business, whatever, into an investment,
Mm.
that investment helps other people, but helps your money grow.
Yeah.
And, but I was, and they say so many people just grown up with that idea of like, I got to hold on to it. And
Mhm.
so that's what I at least want to share with me being in this business, because I'm not an MBA at all.
Mhm.
Here I am studying for my Series 65 license. We'll
Yeah.
see.
You know, me, on the other hand, money does grow on trees, right? It does.
Wow.
There's a money tree. I
Yeah.
want to buy a couple for the house,
That's awesome.
it does. And it's all starts with a plan,
Yeah.
all starts with a plan and a seed, and you just water it and let it grow.
Right. And because then your mindset will shift along the way as you keep seeing success. One
Yeah.
turns into another one, and another month looks like another month. And then pretty soon it's all, whoa, my money's
Yeah.
working. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, well,
So-
they say it's like the curve, right?
Yeah.
It goes like slow like that. That's the rule of 72. But then when it starts to compound it, and then it shoots up,
Yeah.
you go through that time where it's just little incremental growths, but you don't notice it. And then sooner or later, they just become exponential.
Yeah.
And that's why people tend to get a lot of, if they stay at a job and their savings for a long time, all of a sudden in their 50s, it's growing by great measures.
Mm.
So if you keep that that's why we can assure people who start in their early 20s, they'll be millionaires just putting away $200 a month.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put that away.
Yep.
So
Sure
anyway.
can. Well, you guys have given so much hope today. I hope that all of our listeners have gotten inspired. We're going to put ways to reach you in the show notes. So everyone who's listening, just go into the show notes, into the description of this episode, and you will find all the ways to contact Steve and Michelle Shaw and get started on building your future, whether that's home owning or home selling, or, you've got car dreams or vacation dreams, and find a way to make it happen. And I really encourage everyone to get someone on your team that can demystify and take away the stigma that you may have grown up with, because it doesn't have to be there anymore. It can
There
end
you
today.
go. That's good.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you,
it
Nickie.
sounds like there's never a bad time to contact you. There's never a wrong age to get started on
No.
this. It
Nope.
doesn't matter if you're 21 or 69. Now's a good time to work on your finances, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
we do a free strategy session. So
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
so
That's really great.
feel free to call us. There's no oh God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Upfront
No
costs,
commitment, no
there's no
commitment at all.
commitment.
Commitment free, just to share with you. And
Yep.
yeah.
And the other thing is, Nickie, I don't know if you're aware, but we actually do education classes as well.
Oh, that's great.
We
Yeah.
have a couple coming up in July.
Mhm.
So yeah. So if they want to know
Great.
more about that one, they can do that too.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much for
having us
being on the
on.
show today. So guys, if everyone who's listening, if you need home buying or selling tips, contact me, Nickie Robs Homes. I love to serve Puyallup and Tacoma, but it sounds like Steve and Michelle can work from just about anywhere. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
contact them to get started, and let's see what is possible with your actual finances, and then what could be possible in your future. So thanks for listening to Real Life in Real Estate.
Thank you.
Bye.